All right, we're going to review lessons 9-3, multiplication. That's power of products. That's our multiplication. We talked about that when our base numbers are the same, we can add the exponents. This m didn't have a 1. It didn't have an exponent at all, but we know that it's understood to be 1, so we wrote it in. M is our base number, and we added our exponents. 4 plus 1 is 5. Next, we have 2 to the second times 2 to the third times 2 to the first. The 1 wasn't written there, but we understood that there needs to be a 1. 2 is our base number, adding our exponents, 2 to the 6th power. Next, we have y plus w raised to the 2nd power. No operation sign, it's understood to be multiplication. Y plus w raised to the 3rd power. Because these are grouped together, we're going to leave them grouped together in parentheses, y plus w. Add the exponents, and we have y plus w in parentheses raised to the 5th power. In multiplication, you add the exponents of like bases. 4 to the 5th times 4 to the 6th, the base number is the same, so we're going to leave it as 4. And adding the exponents, 5 plus 6 is 11. 4 to the 11th power, that's the best we can do. Next, we have the problem a to the 3rd m. We wrote in the exponent of 1, it's understood to be there, times a to the 2nd times m to the 3rd. A to the 3rd times a to the 2nd becomes a to the 5th by adding its exponents. 3 plus 2 is 5. M is the next base number. Adding its exponents, we have m to the 4th power. Now, if by chance we have coefficients that don't match, since this is multiplication, we're going to multiply 6 times 3, which is 18. Y to the 3rd times y to the 5th, adding its exponents because y is the base number and it's the same. 3 plus 5 is 8. So our entire answer is 18y to the 8th power. Next, to review division. Division we talked about subtracting our exponents when the base numbers are the same. X to the 10th, the fraction bar is being used to represent division. X to the 2nd leaves us with x to the 8th. Negative 2 is the base. Negative 2 to the 6th power divided by negative 2 to the 4th power. Our base, negative 2, stays the same. And we subtract our exponent. 6 minus 4 is 2. That's the best we can do. In division, you subtract the exponents of like bases. Y to the 20th divided by y to the 10th. We subtract the exponents. 20 minus 10 is 10. Y to the 10th power is the best we can do. If the bases don't match, referring to the coefficients, we would divide. 50 divided by 5 is 10. X to the 3rd divided by x to the 1st gives us x to the 2nd. Y to the 6th divided by y to the 4th, subtracting the exponents, we end up with y to the 2nd. So our answer is 10 x to the 2nd power, y to the 2nd power. We also talked about 9-6, and that is power to power. That is when we're taking a problem and we're raising it to a higher power. First, everything that's in parentheses, we want to recognize what its exponent is. There's no exponent here, so that's understood to be 4 to the 1st, x to the 2nd. Now, we're going to multiply the exponents. 1 times 3 is 3, so this becomes 4 to the third power. 2 times 3 is 6. This becomes x to the sixth power. The coefficient we're going to multiply. 4 to the third power, we get 64. 64x to the sixth is the best we can do on that problem. That's our final answer. Here's another example. We have 3x to the third, y to the fifth, raised to the fourth power. First, we're going to identify everybody's exponent. This 3 doesn't have an exponent, so it's understood to be 3 to the first, x to the third, and y to the fifth. Again, multiplying the exponents. 4 times 1 is 4. We now have 3 to the fourth power. 4 times 3 is 12. We now have x to the 12th power. 4 times 5 is 20. We now have y to the 20th power. We're going to calculate 3 to the fourth power, and that is 81. X to the 12th, y to the 20th. And we're done. If we have a negative number, we have negative 5. That's going to be negative 5 to the first, a to the 10th, b to the third, and this c did not have an exponent, but it's understood to be 1. So we've recognized everybody's exponent. Now to multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 1 is 3. Multiplying this, we're going to have negative 5 raised to the third power. And remember, you've got to use parentheses for your calculator to know that you're taking the negative and the 5 and repeating it in multiplication 3 times. Negative 5 raised to the third is 125. A to the 30th remains the same. B to the 9th. C to the third. And here's our answer. This concludes our review of 9-3, multiplication and division, and 9-6, power to power, for pre-algebra 5th period.